May I come in, sir?
Please have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
So प्रभात, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थोड़ा सा आप खुद को इंट्रोड्यूस कर दीजिए, अपने बारे में बता दीजिए कहाँ क्या आपका एजुकेशन बैकग्राउंड एंड then we'll move
So
forward.
my name is Prabhat Sharma. I am from Jharkhand and I have done my graduation from Magadh University, Bihar, and my post graduation from JNU. And my research area is working of memory politics, and in that I am looking at how museums are being politicized and the politics of renaming.
In JNU,
Yeah.
Amitabh sir has taught it.
No, I am from CPS. Amitabh sir is not there.
So Prabhat, first of all, can you please explain why you have focused on this particular topic? Because there are multiple other problems in the world,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Because research is basically for problem solving,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So what is the thing that led you to this particular point? Okay, this is the something that I have to inquire and then I have to give some solutions in this particular area, okay?
So actually, during my third semester in JNU, there is a paper called research methodology. So we have to do a particular topic there. So we as a group were assigned this topic only, how politicization of museum, and in that we studied the Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya. We did a survey of it. So from that only I developed a interest in this area. So I just wanted to pursue it forward.
मुझे थोड़ा सा अगर मतलब बिकॉज जो मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ आपके टॉपिक को सो कुछ पोस्ट मॉडर्न ओरिएंटेशन इसमें है इंक्लूडेड है और लेट्स से साइकोलॉजिकल ओरिएंटेशन जो आप मेमोरी का बोल रहे हैं सो कैन यू प्लीज एक्सप्लेन कि व्हाट इज द concept of this memory aspect, especially in the modern terminology and modern politics?
So when we talk about memory, so memory can be either be individual or it can be collective. For example, when we talk about communities there, for example, person belonging to certain communities, they have a different memory than person belonging to some other community, for example, or even if from other region. But when we talk about history, history is uniform as we study it, as we know in our textbook, in our how it is being, for example, negotiated. So I think there is a difference between memory and history. But this is a very contested idea. For example, you may belong to a certain, just I'm taking an example, I'm from Jharkhand, so different tribes. So different tribes have different memory. They have different memory of themselves, how their past has evolved. But problem is that official history which is being portrayed there, so does it include every aspect of memory? So it is not. So there is this contestation is the major factor which I want to see, that how there is this contestation, that how memory is constructed, how a particular thing is put forward.
When you are talking about this aspect, so especially have you ever gone through the ideas of Derrida, or let's say, because again on the one hand your topic is related to the Indian politics and Indian situation that you are taking the guidance basically, okay? So आपका reference point तो वहाँ से आ रहा है, but जो आप psychological aspect use कर रहे हैं, philosophy जो उसमें use कर रहे हैं, वो जहाँ तक मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ, it is coming from the post modern orientation and especially the ideas of construction and deconstruction by thinkers like Derrida or let's say Michael Foucault. Especially I would personally say कि अगर मैं इसको sum up करूँ तो the power is knowledge and knowledge is power जो idea है Foucault का, that is something would be more related to the concept of, because it's the construction obviously. So जो knowledge information है, again museum as well as the renaming, the politics of renaming that you have used the word. So are you directing this thing particularly कि it is basically construction of a particular kind of system by the government? So that
Not only by the government, but by the communities itself, how they construct memory. So it's not like a top-down approach, it's like more like a bottom-up approach. How communities see themselves. For example, if something is not portrayed there, in a, for example, tribal museum is going to be opened in Ranchi. So of course, everything cannot be showcased there. So how do communities themselves feel about it? So that is the main thing, and of course, my main framework I have derived from Maurice Holbach's.
Okay.
Yeah, from there.
Okay, fine.
But
Yes, sir.
what is the broader impact of memory politics on society cohesion and democratic values?
Yeah. Can you please repeat, sir?
Broader impact.
Yeah. So of course it has an impact, because memory is something which is related to past, and when we talk about memory politics, what you are trying to do is you are bringing the past into the present. So for example, you are inculcating some aspect of the memory in history and you are excluding others. So there's this power dynamics involved. So of course it has impact on society and its cohesion, how mobility takes place, how different communities, how different groups interact with each other. So all these are different aspects.
Memory politics is only related with the museum and renaming.
No. There are various other aspects.
Why
For
you-
example, okay, because I cannot cover everything. For example, you can also study school textbook, how different things are portrayed, or you can study in these times social media, how people participate, how people communicate, how people talk about different things. So of course I have taken these two domains because I don't know, maybe of course as I said that I did of course my topic on museums during my masters, so that provocated me to choose this theme. So there's no particular
How will
answer.
you
What?
How will
Okay,
conduct your
so-
research? Can you briefly explain via some diagram?
Yeah, sure.
We saw.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Research
So
method
actually-
or something like that.
research methodology or anything? But
Yeah, so I'll
Collection
be,
of data, something like
collection
that.
of data is-
yeah. So I'll be following a non-probability sample.
So from where you get this sample?
And in that I'll be using purposive sampling. And selection of the sites will be based on the narratives, what was the context of the establishment of the museum, in the case of museum I'm talking about, and it involves semi-structured interview with curator of the museum, with local communities there, and of course historians. So this will be the broader framework in the case of museums, and in the case of renaming, my focus is on those sites which were not selected. So for example, my time period is post-independence.
Yeah.
So when Britishers left and we gained independence, then of course government decided to change various names of cities, of certain themes and parks, but certain areas was not chosen. Not everything was renamed. So what was the thing there? What motivated them to choose certain things and not? So my focus is on the latter one. So this is the broader outlook which I'm talking about.
Why government has not chosen?
Yeah. So for example, if this site has been renamed, why not this site? What was, for example, it also has a British name.
What is your perception?
Okay, that is what I am to see. I want to research.
Do you
about.
have any idea? Have you been reading some literature about it?
In renaming, I have read Azhar Yahu and B.S. Yoha. B.S. Yoha has done his research in Singapore regarding the politics of renaming, because Singapore was also a colonial.
So you're doing some contemporary studies. You're picking some contemporary examples as well.
Yeah, contemporary. Post-independence, mostly focused on contemporary aspects.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Prabhat, don't you think कि taking up time from post-independence period, it means कि from 1947
Yeah.
till today, it's a long time, okay?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
again, doing a research of like let's say such a huge time,
Yeah.
again because like problem will be there कि जब आप जाएंगे ना वहाँ पे like when you will be putting up your thesis,
Yeah.
so it would be the वहाँ पे जो challenges आते हैं रिसर्च में कि आपके ऊपर सवाल उठेगा कि आपने ये वाला पार्ट मिस कर दिया, आपने ये वाला टाइम पीरियड मिस कर दिया, because it's a long time
Yeah.
and multiple renaming and as well as museum
Yeah,
reconstruction, multiple different governments were there, okay?
Yeah.
So सबका अलग अलग ओरिएंटेशन, ओके?
Yeah.
सो इतने लंबे टाइम फ्रेम को कवर करना फ्रॉम 47 टिल 2023,
Yeah.
डोंट यू थिंक कि टॉपिक का जो एक्सपेंड है काफी ज्यादा हो जाएगा, बिकॉज अगेन फर्स्ट यस
Tenure should be fixed.
फिक्स्ड टेन्योर दैट आई गेस यू शुड बी स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम या फिर
Sir,
आफ्टर 1980s 1990s that would be more
Doable and
comfortable for the
feasible,
research
because it's
purpose.
a very, as sir said, it's a very vast area.
Yeah.
And again, when अभी हम बात करते हैं, when we get into the field, then things are very different.
Yeah.
And you would not like your research to be going haywire.
Yeah.
So it's always better that you limit it to a period. Of course, you find a rationale behind it, that why you're choosing a specific period, and then if you focus, I think something rich will come out of it that you can.
बेसिकली मतलब रिसर्च का रिजल्ट्स इंपॉर्टेंट है कि लाइक इफ यू आर, बिकॉज लास्ट में आपने 4 साल मेहनत किया, उसके बाद आखिरी में रिजल्ट्स अगर आपके पास नहीं है, प्रिसाइज रिजल्ट्स, ओके, जो आप मतलब बेसिकली ऑब्जेक्टिवली क्रिएट कर सकते हो, तो फिर वो मतलब वो है कि इट्स अ वेस्ट ऑफ टाइम क्रिएट हो जाएगा. सो यूजुअली व्हेनेवर यू विल गो टू अ इंटरव्यू, द इंटरव्यू विल बी आस्किंग यू दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग आल्सो
Yeah.
कि कैसे मैनेज करेंगे, बिकॉज जैसे अभी तो स्टार्टिंग में, because again you have like let's say using the semi structured interview. अच्छा, one more thing, when you were talking about the semi structured interview, you talked about the basically let's say like curator was there, something local
Local
community,
communities
and
and-
historians.
Sorry?
Local communities.
local communities.
Yeah.
So why you are not, when you are talking about museums, so what about the visitors? Because the museums
Yeah,
are actually
basically,
creating
yeah,
a
I used
aspect to
that,
the
yeah. Visitors,
memory
yeah,
is
yeah.
something which is coming because
yeah.
they are the basically what we are receiving ends. Na?
Yeah.
Visitors are the original person, those who are on the receiving ends,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they will be the impactful part.
Yeah.
So main aspect, I guess I would say
I forgot to write that.
that was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
question.
Yes, sir.
You are talking about 700 specialized museums.
Yeah.
or any specific museum?
So basically, let's say for example, Partition Museum or Pradhan
It's
Mantri.
very huge in number.
No. I am not talking about 700 specialized museum. I think Jatinder Jain has talked about it.
Yes,
Yeah. He has talked about.
Achha.
So I'm not going to choose.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, what I will be doing is I will doing a region wise. For example, if I am
Have you
picking up
identified any particular site or general topic?
a particular site of museum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, for example, Partition Museum recently opened, PM Sangrahalaya. Tribal Museum in Ranchi. And there's this museum in Hyderabad, I'm forgetting the name. I think Zafar Museum somewhere.
But one
Yeah.
more question.
Yes, sir.
Why government has done this?
Which one, sir? Why government has done it?
Why? Yes. In
So-
your opinion,
Actually,
why there is a renaming and what
Okay.
is the logic behind?
yeah. So there is, of
Do
course,
you think there is a shadow of communalism?
communalism.
Communalism.
Okay. Recent renaming prospects.
I don't know. You are talking about the reason.
Okay. So communalism, maybe there may be an angle. I'm not sure of it. I have not visited the field. So
गवर्नमेंट ने ऐसा क्यों किया?
of course, every
को
government.
क्या फायदा हुआ?
Every
Government को करने से क्या फायदा?
Every government has different perspective. सबका objective अलग होता है. तो for example, they are trying to construct an identity.
For getting vote back,
Maybe yes.
you have to clear in your perception.
So yes, maybe yes. Vote bank politics is there, of course.
Maybe
So creating
or not allowed in your.
Because
So
see,
how your research is
Yes, sir.
Useful for government?
It is for government that government may be able to analyze that the identity formation. So for example, if they are talking about, if they are leaving certain sections behind. For example, I can give you the example of Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya. When I went there, Gujarat riots or this Babri Masjid demolition were not included. So when we surveyed the local visitors there, what they thought about this. So of course, most of them were in the favor that okay, they must be excluded. And like why? So they said that because these are very sensitive issues and they must not be portrayed here. So of course, government can get a brief idea about how basically the different dynamics between different communities, even different castes, how it plays out. So while leaving certain sections behind, so how can you include them? So this is the main motive, cohesion.
if
social.
they are already intentionally leaving something, okay,
Yeah.
for example, if I'm talking about Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya,
Yeah.
if you will enter there,
Yeah.
the basically the introduction of each and every Prime Minister of India was there, okay, and but the photos of everyone is there, basic introduction. But when it comes to the gallery by gallery, okay, जब आप प्रधानमंत्री संग्रहालय में जाते हैं तो first में they start with Shastri ji.
Yeah.
So it was intentional or something like that.
Yeah,
so
it was that.
so now if you are basically saying कि okay उसका impact क्या है मतलब basically this research that you are doing, मतलब it would be going in a perspective कि you are providing suggestions to government, or let's say you are just exposing it.
I'm
So,
exposing it.
Exposing.
Exposing
Okay. That would be the objective,
Yeah,
because I don't think so it is going to be any helpful for the policy makers.
No.
They will not be
No.
accepting it. Okay. Administrators will not be accepting it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. For the what we can say, for the people perspective, for the like opening the eyes of the people, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
this research would
yeah.
be. But I guess these things are very well accepted to the people also कि यार ठीक है जब सरकार बदलेगी तो कुछ होगा.
But that is the thing, na. If even if government is changed, then also certain sections are left behind. It's not that only this government is doing
Yeah.
that or previous government was doing. No,
Achha,
Every
okay.
time you cannot include everything.
Okay.
So that is what my why only certain aspect of a particular memory is being portrayed. Why not? What about other aspects of the memory?
Achha. Last question from my side.
Yes.
Have you ever thought about adding the subaltern aspect, because we have talked about the tribal museum perspective.
Yeah.
So usually the subaltern studies in India, especially the subaltern representation, because in the present government we can say they are quite specific about it. They are like, for example, if I talk about Habibganj station, it was basically renamed as Rani Kamlapati station. Okay.
Yeah.
So those kind of tribal upliftment was, so it is just for the show off or vote bank, or it is they want to make some change in the social aspect, or let's say community upliftment, what we can say.
So of course, when we talk about representation, so Anne Phillips' idea, politics of ideas and politics of presence. So we need to see if it's merely symbolism or much more than that.
Exactly.
So that needs to be seen.
That's done from my side. Any other question?
How would you put up recommendations or suggestions for your studies for future researchers if they want to take up some similar lines? So do you have any suggestions for them?
Okay. So most of the research which have been conducted on museums, especially in political science field, have included a top-down approach, that what government is trying to portray. But most of the things they have missed about what communities feel, what they think about it. So I would just suggest that a bottom-up approach is required rather than top-down, because of course everything is known that why government is doing that. But what about those people who feel that, those communities? So yeah, bottom-up approach I would say.
Prabhat, you can have a seat.
Yeah, thanks.
So then we can discuss about some feedbacks actually. So you have to, आपने अपना part बता दिया, you have explained your topic very well. So first of all मेरे साइड से तो ये है कि topic बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत interesting है, मतलब basically जो usually बात हम करते हैं, but you are talking about that particular thing from the some senses and some rational sense. So hopefully it would be accepted.
Yes.
And कुछ aspect जैसे सर ने ये बताया कि time frame को you have to decide it, and that would be helpful for you actually. Okay, university might accept it कि ठीक है कर लीजिए, but it would be a problem for you in future, because without any time frame, and especially for 1947 it would be a typical task. So that change need to be done.
Okay.
And like another aspect I guess, because अभी जो आपका study होगा ना उसमें वैसे आपने secondary and primary data का बात किया है, सो सेकेंडरी डेटा में जो चीज़ें एस्पेक्ट आएंगे उसको थोड़ा सा फोकस कीजिएगा, बिकॉज अभी जो है यू आर डूइंग अ प्री लिटरेचर रिव्यू, एंड द मूविंग फॉरवर्ड वो थियोरेटिकल एस्पेक्ट को इंक्लूड करना विद द बेसिकली लाइक लेट्स से योर सर्वे पार्ट. सो वो कैसे आप मिक्सअप करेंगे, बिकॉज यू हैव अ क्लियरिटी अबाउट दिस रोड मैप. ओके, व्हाट यू हैव प्रेजेंटेड की लाइक लेट्स से नॉन प्रॉफिट प्रोबेबिलिटी हो गया, प्रोबेबिलिटी एंड सैम्पलिंग, सॉरी. सो बट हाउ यू विल बी इंक्लूडिंग दैट perception that you will be building from the literature review with the orientation that you are going from the getting from the ground reality. So they are two different things. तो वहाँ से ground reality से क्या मिल रहा है, और जो आपने बेसिकली किसी दूसरे thinkers के perception से जो ideas लिए, तो उनको कैसे क्लब करना है, वो थोड़ा सा एक और clarity proposal में आपको थोड़ा देना पड़ेगा.
Okay sir.
That is my suggestion.
एक बात ये है, क्या रीनेमिंग करना और ये मेमोरी पॉलिटिक्स क्या बिल्कुल हमेशा गलती है?
No.
दूसरा सर, क्या अगर कोई इंडिया को भारत कहता है तो इसमें क्या अपराध है?
या सो कोई
नज़र में क्या है?
पहले क्वेश्चन का जवाब बिल्कुल गलत, हमेशा गलत नहीं होता है. सिंपल एग्जांपल, ब्रिटिशर्स जब आए तो ऑफकोर्स कॉलोनियल रूट हटाने के लिए वो किया गया, बहुत सारे चीज़ जगहों का नेम चेंज किया गया, दैट इज़ ओके फाइन, हमेशा गलत नहीं होता. अगेन सेकंड, भारत कहने में कोई अपराध नहीं है, बट द प्रॉब्लम इज़ कि वो जो भारत है, जो भारत टर्म यूज़ हो रहा है, तो क्या बाकी जितने भी रीजन से सब उससे एग्री कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, भारत इज़ ए हिंदी वर्ड, so you're looking at the Hindi population, but unsatisfactorily, on even if 50% of the population in India does not speak Hindi, 49 point something speaks Hindi.
Do you know federalism?
What sir?
Do you know federalism?
Yes sir.
What is the meaning of federalism?
Federalism is basically the division of power between union government and the state government.
Pardon?
Division of power between union government and the state government.
Central.
Yeah.
And cooperative federalism?
Cooperative when union and the state cooperate. Yeah. On certain
Do you
issue.
think there is a cooperative federalism is going on?
Okay. So, and that is a very sensitive issue. Maybe not.
चलिए सर.
So yes, so my suggestion will be ki you have been picking up a very good topic and very interesting thing, and as sir suggested, trying time frame, narrowing it down will make it all the more interesting. And if it is becoming, if we make it a little more apolitical, I think it'll be actual mirror. It should not go with any ideology. I believe you will be keeping that in mind, so that it actually adds on to the fraternity of knowledge. So all the very best.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thanks.
गुड लक।
Thank
ऐसे
you.
ठीक है।
ओके सर।
वो
सर,
है, but थोड़ा सा जो हम लोगों का
टाइम फ्रेम का सर वो मतलब मैंने सोचा था, बट वो इशू ये आ रहा है कि कौन सा पर्टिकुलर फ्रेम, उसका रीज़न क्या होगा।
हाँ, that you have to work. वो तो खोजना पड़ेगा उसके पीछे की. And you
Also-
have to be very strongly able to defend that.
या
थोड़ा सा स्पेन पीरियड को अपना उसको ध्यान में रखिए।
ऑल्सो बिकॉज
उसको
आई हैव टेकन दिस टाइम पीरियड बिकॉज मोस्टली जो 1960s से 1990s तक मान लेते हैं, तो उसमें जनरली जो मेरा स्टडी होगा तो दैट विल बी मोस्टली बेस्ड ऑन आर्काइव्स, क्योंकि उस समय के लोग होंगे या नहीं होंगे, नोबडी नोज. So that is why I thought about this time frame.